So while I wait for electrical connectors to show up to continue the wiring, while I'm already out in the garage anyway and I've got some time, let me see if I can knock something else off the to-do list. One of those is going to be the throttle cable. These factory S30s, 240, 260, 280, and even also the 280ZX had a like hard linkage style throttle with like steel rods with spherical ball ends kind of. That's not going to be easy to convert for a wire throttle like the S2000 has, but I happen to have a Crown Vic throttle cable. I also have the pedal for it. Let's see if I can adapt this to work on the S2000 throttle body and maybe even the 280Z pedal, or put in the Crown Vic pedal. All right, so the factory throttle would be held there. This has like a bolt on it arrangement, so it's a little bit different, but we might be able to make this work. Ow. I'm gonna tape this real quick because that's starting to come apart. All right, temporary fix, emphasis on temporary. So the first thing actually probably to solve is the fact that this throttle opening here is too small for this. You can go one of two routes on this. You could either open up this hole, or we can try to make this smaller. I'm tempted to try to make this smaller. You have to think about what's more likely to fail and what's most likely to be replaced down the road. Ideally, you want to modify the part that is going to be replaced less, so that when you have to replace the other part, that you don't have to modify it every time. But I'm also considering the value of a throttle body versus the value of the cable. The cable's worth a lot less to me than the throttle body. So this is a cable I had lying around anyway. Let me make that a little bit smaller and we'll go from there. All right, let's see. That did the tick. Let's see if that did it. Oh, nice. Very nice. All right, so that's actually a win, and it looks like, more importantly, that the length isn't bad. So let's look here. So with that pulled all the way, I'm way out there, which means I have roughly that 2 inch or so worth to play with. That's excess. So now, excess for the pedal side. So now let's figure out how we go about this. See, so this is the problem here, is that even a 3/8, which is probably going to be too big, is just going to want to slide right through there. So this is going to have to be done with a grinding bit, die grinder style bit, or Dremel bit. Let me grab something and go from there. right, there's one side done. So it's a little fiddly to get on, but it does work. I've got 2 cotter pins in there, which is probably one more than necessary, but you know, not a bad idea. Just punched a couple of holes through the bracket that was there from the Ford side into the Honda side, which, you know, so now I'm modifying a Honda bracket. Oh well, but so be it. There's 2 studs here. If I ever want to make a custom bracket, it's not a big deal. And now that works. That does pop off because there's excess length in the system. Once the other side is attached to a pedal, hopefully that's not going to be an issue. I don't think it will be. That's good because, like I said, that gives me some extra distance to play with here, so I can adjust it a little bit if necessary. So let me look at the pedal side and see what we're going to do there. So here's the factory pedal from a Crown Vic, I think. It would be easy to mount to the firewall. I don't know about the pedal height versus the firewall, but you can see that's how much space I need essentially from the mounting point. So if this is going to sit flat on a firewall, this might be hard to picture, but let's do it that way. So if you're going to mount this on a firewall like that, and you want the pedal to be all the way down in its current position. Come on now, work with me. There we go. All right, there we go. So there's an idea of how far this bracket needs to be from the firewall on the interior side. And you need to have, you know, a little bit of adjustability so you can move this bracket forward or backward to adjust the tension on the belt. And then, wait, this is full throttle. That's idle or closed throttle. So that's about, I guess, where it needs to be. And then, so this actually needs to be mounted on the outside of the firewall. This would be on the inside of the firewall. Or you move that bracket, bend it or something. Let me see though, because this is a relatively easy shape to make. All it is a hole with a slot to get the cable in. I might be able to reproduce that on the factory throttle. All right, and here's the Datsun throttle, which I'm amazed that that's what holds the throttle on. I know throttles aren't under nearly as much pressure as something like a brake or even a clutch, but still, I do like that this has a built-in spring. I find that handy. Gives you just a little bit of assuredness that it'll return to zero or closer to zero, even if something happens with the pedal. It gives you just a little bit more. You also have to remember that the because of the linkage in the factory system, this is probably also to accommodate for just a little bit of slop in the system as well. So the challenge here is that this is facing the wrong direction, and well, I mean, I guess it's not far out from where that bracket needs to be. So these are both, that's open, closed throttle position. At the same height, the Ford pedal would sit higher off the ground. I do like also that the Ford has a built-in stop, which is really handy. But anyway, the point of a attachment for the cable side is a lot higher on the Datsun. Let me think about this for a minute. You know, I hate to be no, I don't hate to be a weight weenie, but I'm a weight weenie. The Datsun pedal is like 3 times heavier, maybe more. I think I'm gonna go with the Ford piece. If I don't like the pad, or if I need to move it, I always can. This is easily replaced. Yeah, so let me just make some notes about kind of where this needs to land. We'll go from there. So I'll be honest, I have no idea what I'm doing here, but, well, I mean, like, with this, not, I mean, like, well, I guess I don't really know what I'm doing here, but anyway, instead of wondering what if and spending a ton of time trying to plan something, I'm just gonna try something, and if I don't like it, I can always change it and go from there. But I'm gonna just try to locate one hole in one of the original Datsun holes, and see how that pans out. I don't even think I need to make a new hole in the firewall for the cable yet. I think I can use one of the existing cables and just kind of plug it in and see how it goes. And then if I need to move it around, we can kind of go from there. Point being is I'm trying to show you that sometimes you just go for it and then iterate. One of the challenges is that I just need a shorter cable. I don't know, maybe I'll end up having to build a custom cable eventually anyway. Okay, well, technically I'm not getting full closed throttle, and I'll show you why, but the bracket just needs to be close to the pedal. But technically I have some throttle that is too high, but that's okay. Now I know. I mean, it's almost livable, but that is too high. And it'd be even higher if I was getting to full closed throttle. So it's gonna have to come down, and that's okay. But now I know, and I can go from there. What it really unfortunately means is that I'm probably gonna have to cut out the bracket from the factory pedal and remove that. But I'll show you what I mean, but not getting full closed throttle. You see, right there is a screw. There's the throttle stop, and it's not actually closing all the way. That's because this bracket needs to be closer to the pedal. Now, if I lower that right now, that would already help. I don't like this though. So I'm gonna pause here for now because I think a little bit of homework will really amplify working on this more. I don't mind this situation, so and I don't necessarily I think I can work with the pedal, but that length is going to be problematic because that's also going to be increasing friction, and I really just I don't need that much cable length. So I like using what I have around, but I also don't mind shopping. So, and with that, let that also be a lesson that as great as using what you have around is fantastic, and I absolutely promote that, it's also not a bad idea to figure out an easier way if that's going to get you down the road faster. So, as always, keep jamming.
Well, no resolve is found, caught in the pull and the give and the take. Our hearts keep the score of the silence we make. I'm sorry for the echoes that grew in the divide, for the tides I could not